Greetings and welcome to Jefficho Films. Today we're going to talk about a movie based on a book in 1997 called The Moon and the Sun. Filmed in 2014, supposed to come out in 2015, sat on the shelf for well over 5 years, didn't come out till this year, 2022, January 21st. $40 million budget, it's made about $2 million so far, so that's not looking good. Well, let's review The King's Daughter. A lot of interesting production names I've never heard of, and oh god, storybook narration. Marie-Josèphe is the king's daughter, and she's living with nuns, and they think her love of the unholy sea is the devil's work. King Louis XIV, played by Brosnan, returns from a great war, gives a good speech, but not everybody likes him.
It has been the greatest honor for me to stand beside each.
Dr. Labarthe, played by Pablo Schreiber, who's the Master Chief in the new Halo series, says that he can extend the king's life with an organ transplant from a mermaid from the lost city of Atlantis. I was just there in Assassin's Creed Odyssey. It sunk. My bad. I did that. They send an expedition with a courageous captain, and they dump some depth charges, and they bag a couple mermaids, but they only need the female one, so they let the male one go. So you're gonna transplant female organs into the male king? I'm not a doctor, but...
There is a possible solution. I've been investigating certain properties of an organ in a legendary sea creature. If the question is the king's mortality, this creature could hold the key.
The doctor says they have to sacrifice the creature during the high moon, or some shit like that. Minister Père assures, and no, I'm not going to pronounce that right, I'm sorry French people, played by the late William Hurt, is suspicious, and the king's daughter is summoned, so he goes to pick her up. We see the king doesn't really like the music that he's listening to when he's getting all forgiveness from his priest and God.
Forgive me, Father, for I have sinned. I shared my bed last night with Madame Scarron.
Was Madame Devereux?
I don't think so. Devereux's an intellectual.
She's also a brunette.
Well, that seems pretty convenient. Marie is there to become his new composer, but no one must know that she's the king's daughter. In fact, she doesn't even know. I mean, she was raised in the covenant and never told the truth. So she's put into a room after she falls into a fountain in front of the king and meets him. She's put in a room befitting of a composer. It's a big upgrade for her. I mean, she was in the other room for 5 minutes, so, I mean, moving on up quick. Père has a plan. He's scheming. He wants to marry her off for more money. Mermaid gets put in an underground water layer. It's pretty cool. Père tells the doctor that what he's doing is sacrilege and goes against God's will. But the king wants to be immortal, so... The king tells the captain to heal the mermaid, and he'll get a royal pardon, but if he fails...
You fail me, and a dark cell will seem like paradise. I promise.
Marie's playing the cello, and she hears her. In fact, anyone with ears should be able to hear the mermaid as she's crying out, and she just walks down to her. No guards anywhere, but the captain does find her. So they kind of play a duet together. And then she plays the same song for the king the next day, and he loves it and invites her to the ball. Magali, her servant friend, kind of whores her up, but by the time she gets to the ball, she's just absolutely gorgeous.
I look like a clown.
I like this unique look of yours.
Perhaps others will follow.
Oh, I doubt it. You're something they can never be. An individual.
She's never danced before, so her dad, I mean the king, teaches her in front of everybody, but he also sees her mother for a moment. Then there's fireworks, and she goes to hang with the mermaid and the captain. Dr. Evil plans to remove the mermaid's heart, and the next day we get some father and daughter bonding. I like their chemistry.
Her name was Louise de Vallier.
Do I remind you of her?
No one reminds me of her. Till you.
The king promotes the duke's son to duke, and he doesn't like the captain. Marie goes swimming with a mermaid, but the captain interrupts, and we learn that the new duke's dad screwed the captain back in the day and accused him of stealing. Marie and the captain go riding. if you know what I mean, on horses, until a gunshot makes her fall off and break her arm. And the doctor wants to amputate. I mean, back then they really didn't have a lot of logical solutions. The king stops it though and says if it heals by the morning, she'll keep the arm. And then the captain gets this idea from the mermaid that she can heal her, so he takes her to her. A little bit of singing, a little bit of glowing in the water and some swimming, and she's playing music the next day. Marie's now talking to the king and they're getting along, but he lies to her. And the captain has to explain that she's being naive. Cap and Marie go for a walk, and two of them, they explore some beautiful locations. Versailles, France, Melbourne, Australia. Looks pretty sweet there.
You have a lighthouse.
Right, so. It's only a few more steps.
The sky is so beautiful.
He takes her to the Temple of Love. Smooth. No surprise she kisses him. And the king's telling the duke, because he wants his money, that he should marry his daughter before the priest, guilt trips him. But Marie's not swimming with the mermaid. Louis is telling her about her mother. I like how honest he's being with her. Before he goes all evil and tells her that she has to obey and will have to marry the duke, and that they're gonna take and transplant this organ from the mermaid after killing it brutally. I added the brutally, but it's not gonna be pleasant. During high moon, never is.
I won't.
You don't have to agree, child. You have to obey.
The priest goes to visit the mermaid because they're pretty much on the same side. He doesn't want the organ transplant to happen because he's worried about the king's soul. Eventually, Marie finds out what the king's plan is. And he doesn't give a shit at that point. He says he needs to become immortal for France.
You think I want this for my own immortality? France needs a leader who can protect her.
This is ridiculous. This is murder.
Silence!
Silence to you, father!
So the king gets his musketeers and a doctor, and they go to drain the pool. And Marie goes to convince the priest to help, and the captain, but that doesn't take too much. Their only chance is to go through the river, so they actually have to flood the cave. But Doc and the musketeers show up and they have a battle. The captain gets shot several times and goes into the water, so the mermaid takes them and they head off while Marie battles the doctor. Eventually she escapes and goes riding. Louis informed of what's happening, so he rides out and he meets her at the top of a cliff, where we see the captain's in the water getting healed by the mermaid, and his ship is getting surrounded by Louis' ships. And he asks his daughter for one last chance to prove his love, before telling his musketeers to take aim at the mermaid. But at least he does something nice in the end.
Come get me.
The mermaid ends up saving Marie after her killer jump, and the priest is quite proud of Louis after making the right decision. It's a good thing the mermaid's saving people power didn't run out. That would have sucked.
You've always been a great king. Now you've become a great man.
Signal the ships to retreat.
Later, the captain and the Marie visit Atlantis, and the mermaid gives her a tour. The end. This obviously had some production/distribution issues, but overall, I didn't mind it. It felt like a Disney movie that wasn't made by Disney. Good family movie. The characters had good chemistry. I liked William Hurt and Pierce Brosnan's relationship, and the Captain Marie were pretty good together.
Since you obviously weren't listening at the door, you must be completely in the dark.
Utterly.
Am I so endlessly and infinitely self-centered?
It's worse. Your power is so complete, you're never allowed to care about anyone.
And although they didn't give her a name, the mermaid played by Fan Bingbing did pretty good. I would have liked to, see a little less CGI and a little bit more Fan Bingbing, because she's a good actress. So in the end, I really don't see a reason why this wouldn't do really well on Disney+. I mean, give it some marketing, that'd be nice, and you don't have to when you throw it on Disney+, but if it had marketing, it probably would have done a bit better. I mean, I didn't even hear about this movie except for the fact I was searching Pierce Brosnan's IMDb because I'm like, oh, I need to see some more Pierce Brosnan movies. What's this one where he has to kill a mermaid so that he can live forever? Oh, I'm down. Well, as always, guys, thanks for watching.